Hi everyone, my name is Georgina Dunlevy and I am the Employment Support Officer with the Irish Stammering Association. We have been going since 2019 and I'd like to take this opportunity to share some of our experience with you, so hopefully we can all learn from each other. Apologies that I can't be there today in person and to do this live. It's a bank holiday here in Ireland, so I had arrangements already made, but I'm delighted that this can be facilitated in this way. So I'm going to share my screen now because I have a presentation that I'd like to go through with you. I'm going to try and keep it as informal as possible and just give you a little bit of information to start off. So, just bear with me. Okay. So I'll begin with a little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Georgina. I am based in Ireland, so I'm in the sunny southeast, although it's not very sunny at the moment. In fact, it's raining and it's quite dull, but I'm an optimist, so I'd like to think that this summer is going to be amazing. You may notice that my hair is slightly longer from when this picture was taken. So that was quite, well, it wasn't actually that long ago, but I have been working with the ISA since 2019. And I have been working in the field of employment support since about 2008. So I worked for a number of other charities working specifically in employment support before I joined the ISA in 2019. When I joined the ISA, the employment support function was new. So it's something that we created from a seed of an idea. So it was a very exciting time to join. I am an ally of the Stammering community. And I suppose a fun fact about me would be that I love to sing, mainly mantras, but also a bit of Taylor Swift. I have two daughters who like to sing Tay as well. So a little bit about the Irish Stammering Association. So formally, in its current format, the Irish Stammering Association was established as a charity in 2014, but it has been around for a very long time before that, quite a number of years, really since the 1990s as a community organisation. But once it was established as an official charity, then we secured funding with the SSNO, which is a fund here managed by the government in Ireland. And currently at the moment, we have a team of 5 part-time staff. So we have Dr. Jonathan Linklater, who is the development manager. We have myself, who is the employment coordinator. We have Aisling Keogh, who is the research officer, Penny Farrell, who is the youth development officer, and then Kathy Walsh, who is the administrator. So a little bit about what our vision and our mission is, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what the ethos of our organisation is. So ISA is the focus and voice of the stammering community in Ireland and is both inclusive and supportive. The ISA promotes the understanding of stammering and values stammering in society. Our mission is ISA is the nationally recognised organisation committed to building, developing and supporting the stammering community, raising awareness of stammering and being the trusted source of accurate and reliable information in Ireland. So we do that through a number of ways, which I'll talk through now in a little while, but a little bit around our values. So our values are really to create an inclusive environment for everybody. That's in terms of accessibility of our programs and our supports, which is why the majority, if not all, of our offerings are on a free or part funded basis. We are person-centered, so we do believe that each individual is to be treated as such throughout any of our supports that are available, and then to act with integrity as well. So integrity in everything that we do, having integrity in us individually as professionals, which we are a team of professionals, and integrity in what we offer to the stammering community as well. So I suppose there's been quite a bit of growth and change to the ISA over the last number of years, all very positive. And I suppose what's kind of happened now is that we have a number of different branches, for want of a better word. We all function together, and you know, somebody can use a support from each of these, but in terms of how we manage the program itself, it's really managed under the three main headings of supports, youth, and then employment. So in terms of supports that we offer, we have things like adult support groups that happen every 3 weeks. Those are open and available to everybody based in Ireland. They happen online, and they are a free space that people can drop in and contribute when they feel that they need that support. We have Stammering Pride events, which again happen throughout the year, and as well as walk and talk events, which are kind of more of an in-person thing. So they happen socially, where people will meet up and go for a walk, maybe around Dublin. This summer, we're actually doing a fundraiser of a walk and talk where somehow I have managed to commit myself to walk 42k across the Dublin mountains in mid-June, but that is something that we are doing to help raise funds for the ISA. So we've got fundraising initiative happening, and quite a team of people have signed up as well. So we have a full day, which is the 42k, or you can join us for a half-day event as well. So I'll share information at the end in terms of our website and where you get information on the website. Other supports that we have are parent support groups, as well as the speaker series, which is one of our very well attended events, I should say. And that's where, you know, speakers will be coming in from an international stage, really, to speak to our audience. Then under the youth events, we have Penny looks after the youth events, Penny and Aisling. We have the Youth Council, which is happening, so that's a fairly new development. We also have a Minecraft club, which is very well received and very well welcomed. We have a children's support group. We have Stammering and events, which are specifically designed support groups for the teenage cohort. And then we have the I Say It Summer Camp, which is a week-long summer camp that happens every year, focusing on things like creative arts, and then a day out as well. And then the transition group, which is another new development that is being pioneered. And this is to support students in their transition from primary education into secondary education. And that is working specifically with that group. Then we have the employment support. So this is my field or my circle, but as I said, all the circles interconnect. And what I look after is, so we've just completed a 6-week public speaking course, which again was very well received. We do public speaking events. We also launched a volunteer program, which is going quite well. We do employer and education outreach as well as things like interview skills and CV workshops. But really, I suppose the bread and butter of employment support is the one-to-one coaching that we offer. And I'll talk a little bit about that in more detail as we go into the process itself. So as I said, employment support was established in 2019. Really, it was Dr. Jonathan Linklater who came up with the idea of developing this support, and I was lucky enough to be offered the position. And what we do. So as I said, there are a number of workshops that we do that would have a number of different people at them. But really, I suppose when it comes to employment, it is an individual challenge and everybody is coming at it from a different timeline. So somebody may be applying for jobs now and be secured in a role in 3 months' time. And also the kind of challenges that people experience throughout their process of looking for work are very individual and can be very personal. So it is for that reason that really we do the coaching on a one-to-one basis. So it is, of course, a person-centered approach. Each person requires different supports in different areas. And then we obviously work with the integrity according to our values and professionalism as well. So any advice that we give is obviously the best advice that we could give somebody that is working through our process. So to give you an idea of the kind of people that come through employment support, I've kind of picked out a couple of different examples that we've experienced over the last couple of years. Now, I've given each of these people an alias name, so it's not their real name as to protect their true identity, but the details of the case would be true. So Michael. Michael was a final year medical student and he was looking to secure his chosen rotation in a specialist field. So Michael had achieved quite a lot. He had academically outperformed a lot of his peers throughout school and in through college. He was involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, and he was also very proactive in terms of research that he was involved in the medical field as well. But despite this, he still had quite a lot of nerves and apprehension around the selection process. So the selection process that he was actually going through would be considered quite an intense process. So he had to apply to a number of different hospitals and a number of different specialists, and then he would be put through a selection process based on that. So it included an application, a first round interview and a second round interview as well. So in terms of where he was coming from, he was really well prepared in terms of the questions. Like Michael knew how to answer a question in terms of, you know, written down on paper, this is how you'd say this. So in terms of the support that he actually needed, it was more about building his confidence and having discussions with him about disclosure. And this is something that, you know, that comes up a lot throughout the process of me working with people, is very often people almost need permission to disclose that they are a person who stammers. Or they don't know that it's something that could be approached during a selection process for a job or even in college as well. So we discuss things like at what stage would be suitable for him to disclose and how would he go about doing that. So talking to an individual or via email or telephone, or what happens. When this discussion comes up, I suppose it's always really important that we identify that this is something that is completely up to the individual. It is up to them if they disclose in the first place. They might choose to go into the interview and say nothing, and that's fine. The important thing is that we support the individual in terms of what their decision is, because that decision is right for them. But in Michael's particular case, he did the interviews and he got offered a number of positions. So he was actually quite lucky in terms that he selected his first choice in terms of a rotation. Peter. So Peter was a third-year student in one of the technical universities here in Ireland. So as part of the employment support, we had made contact with some of the career services in the technical universities and made them aware of the organization and what we do and the employment support service. And it was from that we received this referral of a student who was in their third year, and they were looking for a placement as part of their course. And unfortunately, Peter was really struggling here. He was unable to secure a placement. He had done a number of interviews and he had a lot of self-limiting beliefs around what he could actually do as a person who stammers. So for him, it was really about supporting him and educating him about what the interview process is, how it works, and building his confidence in it. But one of the other important things to note is that, again, this idea around disclosure came up with Peter. And I suppose that there was a moment that is as clear as day in my mind when we spoke about it. So Peter's body language was quite tense and he was quite hard and rigorous. And then when we had mentioned that there would be an opportunity for him to disclose that he is a person who stammers, either before or during the interview process, his entire body language changed instantly. His shoulders relaxed, his jaw relaxed. I could see this relief come over his body. And it was really quite amazing to watch. So we supported him further through the interview process and continued to coach him as we went through it, as he lined up interviews. And he had secured a placement for his course, so he would have succeeded in that part of the module. And he placed so well in that job that he was actually offered full-time employment directly from that placement. So he didn't have to do another interview. But I suppose that particular one shows that for Peter, that interview process, that permission to disclose that he is a person who stammers during the process was really what changed things for him. Carla. So Carla was with the same employer for 8 years plus. So she was long established in the role and she was recently promoted to a new team in a client-facing position. So in the same organization, just a different team and a different role. So this role was more about her. She'd have to do some a type of kind of outreach. So she was needing to make presentations and things like that. But interestingly, like Carla had been with the organization for 8 years already, and being a person who stammers had never come up for her all throughout those years. So she was very apprehensive and nervous about what this change in role would mean for her as a person who stammers. And after a few sessions together, she felt confident enough to approach her new manager in the formal review process and ask for support where she needed it. And again, this created a huge shift for her. And it unleashed a new pride that Carla has in being a person who stammers. And she's now become an active volunteer with the organization, which is great. Mary was employed in the public sector and was unsure of where she wanted to be and what she wanted to do. So this can be quite typical of some of the people that come forward for employment support. And very often this process that we go through is exactly that. It's a process. And it can take a couple of weeks or it can take a couple of months to help somebody and support them through this process. But very much it can often be about identifying what they definitely don't want to do as opposed to what they should or could do. So we spent time together exploring different options and also different beliefs that she had in herself about what she could and couldn't do. Some of those based on being a person who stammers, some of those based on other beliefs. But through the process of exploration together, we could clearly identify what she definitely didn't want. And this is always a learning moment for people that I work with, because, you know, there's real certainty in what you don't want to do. So we learned about what she definitely didn't want to do, and we moved from there in terms of identifying what her next career move would be. So she applied for promotion within the public service, and she was successful in securing that role, and she's currently still in that position and remains very satisfied in the role, and is also actively involved in our support groups as well. So I suppose this is just to highlight, you know, that we can get people at any stage in their career. So from the very beginning, from moving from full-time education into employment, you know, that challenge of getting that first job, to people, you know, midpoint through the career, either having a career shift or career change in terms of job or role, or simply not knowing what it is that they want to do. So that's some of the variety. But as well as that, we also get people that are needing support in education and through education. So Mark was one of these people, and he contacted us initially when he was in the process of applying for third level education, moving from further education. He was apprehensive about the interview process for the course he was interested in. So we supported him with that. And very similar to a job interview, there are a number of those challenges that come up for people who stammer when they're faced with an interview for a course or a program. And it's the same kind of challenges that arise. So, you know, discussions around disclosure, preparation for the interview, coaching and support. We supported him through this process, and he was successful in being offered the place in college based on the results he would get in further education. And then further on from a conversation with him, you know, we identified that one of the maths-based subjects was a challenge for him. So again, we kind of worked together with him to support and create a pathway of support within the education and training board, so the further education college, to support him so that, you know, he can achieve his goal. We supported Mark as he transitioned through college and began work placement. So again, he had moved on to the course, and that brought a number of challenges as well, because he was changing location, and there were a lot of challenges coming up there for him. But also part of the program required him to do work placement. Now the work placement was set by the university, which was very helpful, but it still meant that he had to go in and do the first day and say the first hello and ask questions and that kind of thing. So we supported him through that process as well. So different challenges arose for him through the placement and assessment, and we continued to support him through that. Mark is still engaged with us, and I meet with him every couple of months to check in, because he's going to be looking to move into full-time employment within the next 12 to 18 months as well. So we will be there to support him through that as well. So a couple of things that we have learned. There is no timeline for how long it takes to support an individual. We don't have a limit on our service, as in, if you contact us on the 1st of February, you need to have a job by the 1st of May. Or we don't have a timeline, as in, you have 6 sessions with us, and then after that you must pay or you must move on or whatever. So for example, in the case of Mark, as he's moving through a number of different challenges, you know, we become a long-term support, well, like a support through those initial challenges, really. So some people can contact us and, you know, have a new job with the first interview within a month, or some people could be working with us for a few months. So really, from that point of view, it is very person-centered, and it takes as long as it takes. The job interview can still be a significant barrier for some people who stammer. We know this from experience, and I suppose there are still discussions that need to happen with each individual around areas such as disclosure, around preparation, around and just support, really, in being able to put their best self forward for the job. Often people genuinely don't know how to support someone who stammers in work or interviews or education, etc. We have heard many experiences, varying in degree, about how people receive them as people who stammer. So I think that there are still cases where somebody is conducting an interview and genuinely doesn't know how to respond or how to support a person who stammers in the interview. And that's one of the plus sizes that we discuss about disclosure, is allowing the interviewer to be prepared. So being a person who stammers can create significant self-limiting beliefs for some. So a lot about what we do is to support someone in slowly and mindfully dismantling those barriers so that they can reach their full potential. Other things that we have learned then, so being a person who stammers does not limit anyone's capabilities in terms of work or career. Employers and educators are often receptive to being educated in how to support people who stammer. The majority of workplace cultures in Ireland are inclusive and supportive. There are many ways that we can support someone to reach their goals, and we do love what we do. So I suppose some of the best moments are obviously when somebody gets a job or a placement or moves on in education. But as I've kind of highlighted, there are also those moments of real change in people when I can visually see their body shift, and the response that they have to being openly listened to and having an open discussion about something that perhaps they haven't been able to speak with somebody else about before. So that's very much the crux of what we do. I would invite you to have a look at our website, so stammeringireland.ie, where we have the full list of events and also a number of resources that we have available for people who stammer in Ireland. If you would like to contact me directly with any questions, if you would like to have a further conversation about what we do here in the ISA, or possibility of any collaborations or anything like that, please email me, gd@stammeringireland.ie. We would love to hear from you. So thank you all for taking the time to listen. If you've made it this far, well done. And I look forward to hearing from you in the future.